Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. And thank you all so much for the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. I will absolutely urge people to watch this video and also share it out because there are some things people really need to know. Some people, especially some black men, take things like this for granted and ends up being caught in the web and then start looking for a way to, find their freedom, right? I do not have problem where people find love, but there are some things that as a certain kind of people have a way they operate, and they always use black men because black men always fit the description. Black men always they are like they fear their life when it comes to black men. You cannot be a black teen, a black man walking on the street without any, especially thinking that, without Becky thinking that there is something going on. See, the story here is something that I cannot even break down, but I hope you dissect it and know where you stand in your life because, I mean, starting from the history to this very moment, this has always been the way they operate, saying that a black man did this and all that. And one thing is that nobody will ever believe a black man. It's only black people that will be able to know that this is not true because from history to this very moment, they have a way they operate. Not until you all open your eyes and know that there is a web waiting for you to jump in. As soon as you jump into it, that is the end. Let's get into this video.
What's a racist encounter or experience that you had that you'll never forget?
I'm walking to a bus stop. It's 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon maybe. And from the corner of my eye, I see this group of black people. I don't say anything. They don't say anything to me. I keep walking. Before I know it, I hear them. Like I can hear them laugh and say things. I don't know what they're saying. I keep walking to the bus stop. Out of nowhere, they start throwing things at me. I don't turn around. They followed me to the bus stop. Before I knew it, they surrounded me. 2 of them grabbed my hands. They were holding my hands and I don't even remember where it came from. And I got hit. That was not the only time they hit me. They kept hitting me and hitting me and hitting me. And all I remember was holding my face down and telling them, don't touch my face, because saying something about my pretty white face. So I kept my head down. It was bad. I got really scared when one of the guys pulled out a knife. He pushed it against my neck and he was just threatening me. He was very, very intimidating and I couldn't do anything. That was my experience with racism. So if you tell me black people cannot be racist to white people, think again. You know what's worse about this whole story? That I was 13 years old. I was a child. And this group of black people that attacked me, they could not have been older than 16. This is learned behavior because how else do they know to hate white people except from their parents? Unless we don't change how we parent our children, racism is not going anywhere. So that was my experience. Hope that helps. Dear racist black people, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, and I hope you listen and listen very carefully. Any other race, please stay until the end of the video because I have a message and a request for you. It's not white people tears. It is definitely not white victimhood. It is also not white fragility. You know what it is? It is white experiences, something that you don't want to listen to. So I'm going to make you listen to it. And if you don't want to listen to me, then listen to everyone else. I shared my experience. Nowhere in my video did I insult anyone, attack anyone, or offend anyone. And the first thing that you do, and by you, I mean racist black people, the first thing you do, you call me a liar, you demand proof, and you call me so many other things that I cannot even mention in this video. But you know what's worse? So many people shared their experiences. And not just the white people. And some of you had the nerve to go after them and call them liars and worse. Dear people, white and any other race, please touch my video and share your experience with racism, specifically with black people. Because they're telling me my experience never happened and I made it up. They can try and silence me, but they can't silence all of us because it does happen. Racist black people can be extremely racist toward white people. There's no denying. Dear black people, I'm sorry if you're here and you had to listen to this. I hope you understand how frustrating and sometimes scary it is when we say something that happened to us because of our skin color and we're told we're liars and we're told to shush and we're told we're not allowed to talk about it. In my opinion, we should all talk about it because anyone can experience racism. But the good people, we love you. Dear racist black people, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this and I hope you listen and listen very carefully.
No, I don't think I'll listen to you. I don't think I'll listen to anything that you have to say. Because once again, a woman who is the descendants of the creators and the purveyors of the caste system of race in this country is trying to tell the victims of that caste system what racism truly is. And I don't have to listen to that, nor do I have to acknowledge that you're even speaking about it. I don't. I'm sorry. You don't get what you want over here. See, people like yourself took half of a definition from Merriam-Webster and you ran your ass out here, and y'all have been screaming, moaning, piss-moaning, and complaining that black people are being racist to you. Why? Because we're holding you accountable for your actions. That is what you guys perceive to be racism. Oh, let me talk about history. Oh, you're being racist to white people. Why? I thought you guys said that it was in the past. What are you offended about? Why are you all in your feelings? When we talk about things like these systems, the racial systems that were put in place at the beginning and the foundation of this country, every single one, well, not every one of you, just people that look and sound just like you get offended. What are you offended about? Ain't y'all always telling us to get over it? Why can't we tell you to get over your uncomfortability with race in this country? Brought to you in part by people that look like you and was inflicted on people that look like me. Why is this a problem? That's right. Because that part is called accountability. You see, Caucasian folks that look and sound like you have made a whole lot of new and inventive ways to avoid accountability. Cancel culture. I don't want to be canceled. I'll be canceled if I say this. No, you'll be held accountable. But since accountable has too many syllables and canceled only has one, you guys will go with that. But you are also the ones that want to stand in moral judgment of everyone that doesn't look like you and tell them that they need to be accountable for their actions. So why can't you? You can say some racist ass shit. And that means you saying some racist shit, not some, oh my God, he called me a snow insert an animal and that I feel like I've been the victim of racism. No. You can say some racist ass shit, but you also expect to be able to say it without any consequences. I'm sorry. Oh, there's another one of those big words. Consequences. And we have been having this debate with you people for years now, and it's starting to become tiring. And thanks to your guy about to lose an election, hopefully we can get past this. But make no mistake about it, lady. You are not a victim of racism. At all. None. You are a white woman who wants to be able to get away with shit without ever being held accountable. You want to live in a world where history isn't taught to you so that you don't feel uncomfortable as if anybody asked you to. You want to be able to say any derogatory thing you can and want to a person from a marginalized community and never get that stuff thrown back in your face. So you use excuses like cancel culture and I'm the victim of racism to hide that. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You might think it does, but it doesn't. Because unless you want to take your ass back and stop the people who created race in America in the first place from creating race in America in the first place, stop trying to call black folks who call white people on their bullshit racist. You don't live in the time where you can just say and do whatever you want to without there being any accountability. There will be consequences for your words. The First Amendment means the government can't say anything to you. It does not mean that you cannot be ridiculed, called out on your actions, had your face paraded for saying or doing something racist and trying to bring everybody else into your accountability, your consequences. Is not going to work. So you can be as indignant as you want to be. You can say and get all angry, but the facts still remain. There is no legacy nor history of black people racism towards white people. There is no systems put in place that are wholly, completely owned by black people that can be discriminatory or racist to you. You can live in a black neighborhood. It's a free country. Nobody's running you out. And I don't want to hear about the cousin that was standing next to a guy that was standing next to another guy, who was standing next to a guy, who was standing next to a guy, whose sister moved into a black neighborhood and got ran out by the black people. That's a lie, and I'm not going to sit here and listen to it. It's called accountability. And if you do not like accountability, my advice to you is very simple. Don't do things to where you're going to be called into account for. You're not a victim of racism. You're a well-fed white woman in America who wants to be victor and victim at the same time. Don't feel bad. There's dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of you, and even other white people are calling you to account. Don't bring us into your accountability.
First of all, see-through Sally, there's no such thing as a racist black person. You really tried, though. Like, you gave it everything you had. I applaud the effort, but there's no such thing as a racist black person. Second of all, powdered milk. Don't touch us. Any of us, with your hand or anything else. I'm sorry, but you people are known for spreading plagues. I don't want to catch anything. Last of all, clanny mid-clansmen. If I were you, I'd be more worried as to why it is that white men cannot seem to keep their hands off of little children. Why they pose the biggest risk to children all across the globe. Now, until they prove that bubonic plague cannot be spread through a screen, I'm going to need you to put a mask on.
This is all I got from this video. And sincerely speaking, this woman, she knew she's lying. She knew. She didn't know. Like, the story is not, when the fakest story I've ever heard in my, where did she get the story from? Oh my goodness. I don't know, some of you might know her. I mean, like, I brought her here, I think several times, She always have one story or the other. But sincerely speaking, this story did not happen. I mean, like, where do I start? Or start telling them that black people cannot be racist towards them, to them? Where am I supposed to start and where am I supposed to stop? And there is also another story somebody told, like, on her also page, that her mother was thrown down from how many stories by a black and ended up like so many horrifying stories. Okay, she said my worst is being pulled from my bed dog, taped to a chair, and forced to watch 5 black guys, SA, the mother, then threw her out, the second floor window into a garbage dumpster. And also threatened to unalive the kids if that was where she stopped. May God have mercy on some people. Really, may God have mercy on some people. Like, how did somebody write this and think people will believe it? Okay, now let's try to analyze this. I am not a lawyer, right? But I know that some certain things requires, like, mental, like, you have to use your number 6 to think about it or to maneuver it, right? Like this one said right in front of her, might have 5 men, like, taped the mother and then ended up throwing her, from the second floor to the dumpster. So does it mean that the dumpster is like, I don't know how this story is like, how do people dissect this story and try to even make sense out of it. Heavenly Father, this does not make any sense. This does not make any sense. Okay, after the whole thing happened, did you report that to the cops, the police, that something happened? And like, did you get justice? Because this is where you know that some people are liars. You see stories like this. Like, how would something like this happen to you? And they threw your mother from two-story into the dumpster, and she came out breathing fine, no broken bones, no. Hey, hey, hey. This is not funny. See, I don't know why. I don't know if I am laughing at myself. Who is going to believe this story? Like, who? Now, some people really need to be very careful, especially some Black men, because I do not have problem where people find love. You all already know the one of the problems in Black community from the history to this very moment, it's how women ended up with stories that probably puts people, Black men, into somewhere that they couldn't even come out of it for their entire life. This is also that kind of story. You know that kind of story where they said that he looks like the person. I mean, this is, how did they say that? It matches the description. This is the kind of story. The story whereby you cannot walk on the street being a mostly Black man. This is that kind of story. And who did they use as that story background? Still Black men. Because she said she was walking to the bus stop and Black men from nowhere, they started following. She could hear, you see that kind of story. Number one is that nobody is ever going to, if we already know how they operate, we can understand and we will know if this is true or not. We absolutely know how it happens. We know, right? But if this story gets out there to the other people, nobody will believe that something like this is not true. And they absolutely know that they are lying. This is how some men ended up in a place where they are not supposed to be till this very moment. Go to the prison, you definitely will hear stories of how people went to the jail without even, probably their cases are still not even yet to be opened because there are some lies you cannot even trace and their own are usually that type. The time they probably will find out that the person is dead and gone and all that, they will say they probably look for a way to compensate them. But you see this kind of story, this is very sad. And this will continue. They will continue spreading this message or, stories like this up and down, tarnishing people's image. And then the wrong ones will fall into wrong hands and they will get trapped. When I say trapped forever. So can you people see? I really don't even know what is going on, what she is dragging, because I do not see. Like, the least you see black people, I don't see anybody coming on the internet like dragging anybody. Very rare. It's rare, sincerely speaking. We'll wake up every day to some stories that are not nice. You all can do better. Bye, Becky. See you all in my next video.